getting in there. Well, this is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn. And I just want to thank everybody who tried to listen 2 weeks ago to our show, and then again last week, because we didn't record because I wasn't available. I was laid up, and it wasn't a fun time. But we're going to have a fun time today.
You do better know believe that. It.
Yeah. Well, hey, just the bantering you and John have been doing, Paul, it's going to be great. And I bet you there's going to be a great sports talk too.
Oh, good. Yeah. All kind of good stuff. I'm just blown away by Karen's background there.
What in the world?
What in the world background? That's right. Yeah. And we really appreciate it. So you're right. We're back. We were just comparing notes. When was the last time we were supposed to be on? We had a show prepared for when Karen had her laid upness. So today's going to be a fun mishmash of then and now. But the key word is fun. That's what we're here for at What in the World. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. That's our motto. For those of you who were so dedicated to log in and find out that we weren't here and have come back, thank you so much for doing that. For everybody else, I hope you do find us and come back. I've made a note on Facebook and let everybody know. So hopefully our hometown fans are back. And so I am Paul Seaburn, the host of What in the World, also the editor and head writer at Mysterious Universe. The voice you heard before was Karen Hale, our media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, our platform. She is also our co-host and producer. And somewhere on the screen and in your ear is John Donalo, the host of What in the World of Sports. Hey, John.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Karen. It's good to be back. And as they say, back and better than ever.
Oh, yes.
Better than ever. That's right. Yeah, that's what we need. Better than ever. That's So yeah, thank you to everybody. I know I posted on Facebook. Thank you for all the comments that we forward to Karen. She's not dancing, but she is definitely ready to go.
I am.
Yeah, and so is John. John is always ready. John was born ready. So we've got just a pile of that's a technical term, a technical radio podcasting term. But let's get right to it. I'm rusty here. I'm rusty and dusty. So let's see. What do I normally say at this time? I thanked everybody for listening in. Told everybody we're on newclevelandradio.net. I guess we should talk about what we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely.
So I know John has been going through withdrawals. I've talked to him on the side. He hasn't had a Bigfoot story in 3 weeks. So John, rest assured, we've got a Bigfoot story for you with a photo. So get ready for that.
That's great to hear. It's calmed my fears now because I've been fearful for all these days, like you said.
Aww.
And for those of you who are longtime listeners of the podcast, you know that Karen's favorite mysterious animal is the chupacabra.
Chupacabra!
That's right. So we haven't had a chupacabra story in a long time. Well, guess what, Karen? Not only do we have a chupacabra story from Bolivia, we have a photo of a chupacabra. So
wonderful.
Tune in for that. And for those of you who are listening and not watching on YouTube, please check us out on YouTube. I do have photos that go along with many of the stories. It's always fun to take a look at them. So please do that and follow us, like us, do all that other stuff while you're there. Okay, some weird stuff. A sweaty robot in Arizona. That's right, a sweaty robot. John, you'll love this one. 10-foot aliens were seen in Las Vegas. So we're going to do this was a big story last week. I talked about the chupacabra. Oh, John, cheese rolling. Cheese rolling is back. This was one of John's sports from a while ago. The championships were just held, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And another one of the sports that we talked about on John's segment. Scary bears in Connecticut. Let's see what else we got. More odd news. We got world records. Oh, a couple of good world records. We've got John's weird sport for the week. We play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. So let's get right to it. We haven't been here for so long. I got too many pieces of paper here. Let's see if I can narrow it down to one. There we go. Okay, we're going to start with Arizona. Scientists at Arizona State University designed a robot for clothing companies. And clothing companies needed this robot because they wanted to test how their clothes stand up to sweating. So instead of putting it on a human who sweats, like John or myself, for example, we're here, we're ready, and if there's money, we'll be there.
That is true.
But no, they had to invent a robot that sweat. So this robot, let's see, I think I have a photo of it. Let's get our first photo up here. So you can be thoroughly grossed out by that almost
Oh my gosh.
correct robot. There you go. It's a life-size robot. It's a mannequin they call it. He has no face. The face is a bunch of cords sticking out from where his eyes, his cheeks, and his mouth would be. His name is Andy, A-N-D-I. He's the world's first walking mannequin that generates heat. He shivers, he walks, and he breathes like a human. He has synthetic pores. You can see those holes all over his body.
Yeah.
Those are not moles. Those are or skin tags or whatever you call them. He has synthetic pores for artificial sweating, along with changes in his temperature and heat. And then there's the heat flux sensors, whatever those are, on 30 different parts of his body, so that they can tell what's going on and when he starts sweating. So, my first thought is he's not truly human unless he starts sweating when he hears he's going to be audited by the IRS, obviously, or when he gets pulled over for speeding, which, I was thinking that the perfect robot for this would be a crash test dummy. What other robot would be sweating other than a crash test dummy, seeing the wall coming at him? But so is this a good idea, John? What do you think?
I think it's a good idea in general. I guess they're trying to be able to get more utility out of robots and these kind of devices, right?
I
But
guess
might be some benefit from it. I don't know. What do you guys?
It's the clothing people. And the thing that, as I looked at this robot, I saw the little sweat glands all over the place. But where do we sweat normally? We sweat underneath our arms. And I don't see anything underneath the arms, which reminded me of one of the most famous robot from when we were growing up. And that was the robot from Lost in Space, who didn't have a name, but we all remember him because he would, and I say it's a he, I'm assuming it was a he would roll around the spaceship whenever it was danger, and would wave his arms like this, saying, "Danger, Will Robinson, danger." Well, if this robot had sweat, he wouldn't be able to do this because he'd be too embarrassed because he'd have sweat spots underneath his arms, right?
That's
Yes.
Yeah, Paul. I never thought of that.
That's why I'm here, John.
Good.
To think about those strange things for you and the rest of us. So that's great. I think I'd like to see them use humans who really sweat more than robots, but apparently they can control it and whatever. I don't know. Okay, so we got a lot of UFOs and aliens in the news over the past few weeks, and I can't talk about all of them, but there were a couple that I really liked. One is retired astronaut Scott Kelly. He was part of the astronaut twins. There was Scott, and then there was his brother, who was not Scott. I don't remember his name, but one of them, I think he's the one who's a senator or something. So the astronaut revealed, now all these people are coming out saying, "Well, I saw a UFO, I saw a UFO, I saw aliens." Well, he's another one. Before he became an astronaut, he was a test pilot, and he mentioned at a meeting at NASA last week that while he was flying a Tomcat, which is one of the fighter jets, his radar equipment officer, who is the guy behind him in the cockpit, saw a UFO pass by them. So they picked it up on radar, and Kelly, the pilot, turned the plane around, and went back to pursue this UFO. So he's all excited, they're all excited. They can't wait, finally a UFO. They pull up to it, and what it was, and I don't have a photo of it because he didn't take one because I think he was too embarrassed. He said it was a balloon shaped like Bart Simpson. That was their UFO, a balloon shaped like Bart.
No.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, it would be a good thing to me if aliens were as into the Simpsons as we were. Maybe even more so much into the Simpsons that they designed their spaceships around the shape of Bart Simpson. Maybe Bart Simpson is aerodynamically correct, and we're all wrong in thinking that flying saucers and jets are the right shape for equipment like that. But it also reminded me of two of my favorite cartoon aliens. So the first one is Marvin, and I'm going to bring up Marvin over here. See if you remember Marvin. Oh, here's some. I forgot. I had the robot sweating over here. So that's what robot sweat looks like. So there we go. There's Marvin. Remember Karen, John? Remember Marvin?
Absolutely.
I remember Marvin very well. Sure.
What planet is Marvin from?
Mars.
There you go. Marvin the Martian. How can we forget that? I want to point out, I was working on a story today for a book I'm working on about little green men and where that term came from. If you look at Marvin is not green. His helmet is green. His little tutu that he wears is green, but his body is orange, which I never, and his face is black. Interesting combination there. The broom on his head is obviously broom colored, whatever that thing is up there. Now, my other favorite space aliens from the cartoon world are these two guys right here. Do you recognize them?
Yeah, they look familiar, but
little older. This is from Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Okay.
Those are Gidney and Cloyd. And Karen, way back when we were doing the show at Joe Max, we did a couple of stories on Gidney and Cloyd. And I'm not even going to ask you, since you don't recognize them, what planet they're from. They're from the moon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and they're armed and dangerous. Obviously they look pretty angry. These are not the kind of aliens you want to run into. But the reason I like them is that, again, I was writing about little green men. They are not green, although they look kind of green in this photo. It turns out that the people who did Rocky and Bullwinkle were brilliant. They didn't know what color aliens were. So in each scene, they would have them a different color. And I don't remember that, but I trust the source that I was stealing this story from. So anyways, there's our aliens for the week. Don't forget, I've got one more coming up, and that's the alien from Las Vegas. But first, I want to take care of John here because he is so has gone through Bigfoot withdrawals for so long. I want to get right to it here. So John, this one comes from California.
Okay.
And this is a woman in California was out hiking, and she's in Joshua Tree National Park. So she apparently went off the beaten path, and she was about 3 miles off of a main trail in Joshua Tree National Park when she found this. There we go. So she found what she said is a huge footprint, not that long ago, a couple weeks ago, and you can see her foot next to it. Now her foot is a size 8. So in comparison, for those of you who can't see the photo, the footprint there is a size shack, at least 3 times as big as her little size 8 foot. Would you say that about 3 times, maybe 2.5 times?
Easy, yeah.
Sure.
And she is heel to heel and toe to toe, so you can see there's at least 2 toes in that footprint. I'm not sure if I can see 5, but she said it's huge, more than 2.5 times larger than her foot. She claims that she has found other footprints, smaller footprints, throughout this secret area that she did not reveal, but other than to say it was in Joshua Tree National Park. And she thinks there may be a family of Bigfoot living there. Now, Bigfoot experts looking at this footprint have said, based on that size, this Bigfoot was, get ready for this, 20 feet tall. 20 feet tall. I don't think I've ever done a story about a 20-foot tall Bigfoot. So this would be the first. All I can say is if this is a 20-foot tall Bigfoot, he's got to be glad his family goes barefoot, because he couldn't afford to put shoes on all those giant feet.
Really? How would that be done?
I don't know, John. I don't know. I mean, a 2-story tall Bigfoot here for you, John.
Larger than life, so to speak.
Well, much larger than life. So let's get your opinion on that footprint, John, before I go any further.
Well, to me, it could have some definition of a large creature that put that there, but unfortunately I'm not sold. I can't say definitively that that's what that is.
That you're running with the pack there, John. Most of the comments said the same thing. Interesting that John, you always point this out. Only one footprint. They couldn't find any more of the same footprint. Now, if he was 20 feet tall, the next footprint would be at least 10, maybe 15 feet away. So you'd have to go digging. But the other thing that really bothered me about this is that if this Bigfoot is 20 feet tall, it's probably, 6 or 7 feet wide. This thing should have barreled through this forest, knocking down branches and knocking over anthills and whatever else is in the like a semi pulling through the forest. This woman who's the witness never looks up with her camera. She looks down at the footprint. She never looks up to see if there's any broken branches or
That's a great point, Paul. That's a great point there you brought up. Yeah.
So and 20 feet tall, they should have been able to pick this up on satellite. That he's the size of a house.
Sure.
So my theory is that the people who manage all of our satellites are looking for UFOs and aliens now, and they don't care about Bigfoot anymore, because so many people are talking about the aliens, and that's what we're going to do next. So we're going to go to the 10-foot alien. So we go from 20-foot Bigfoot to 10-foot aliens. Everything's getting bigger these days, and this isn't even from Texas. This is from Las Vegas. So a news station in Las Vegas reported just last week that the police body cam footage of a UFO, a bright blue UFO traveling across the sky, and then police footage of when they went to investigate the people who claimed that it landed in their backyard, and 10-foot aliens came out. So let me take a second here to put that photo up here. So here's all of this stuff is from the police. This is you can see it was May 1st, I think, is when this happened here, but it just hit the news this past week. So what the people said was that blue ball that you can see conveniently circled on this police video snap. The people said that the aliens who came out of it were 10 feet tall with big shiny eyes and big mouths. And one of the people said that they were 100% not human. Now, how did they know that they were 100% not human? Because they landed in Las Vegas and they never once went to a casino or a buffet.
Okay.
They weren't there playing the slots, they're 10 feet tall. I'm sure they could have got comped at some casino.
They would stand out, not to be funny.
You better believe it, John. Yeah. So here's another. This is from the video. This is from inside the police car, I believe. And the quote they said is there's like an 8-foot person beside it. So they're you can't see the 8-foot person, unfortunately. But we're going to take the word of the police to it says right at the bottom, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, that they saw an 8-foot alien while they were investigating here. And for further proof, here's the police report itself, the event log, and it says right on there Person saw something falling from the sky, 8 to 9 foot tall, large shiny eyes, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, 10 to 11 feet tall, green, tan colored skin, neon eyes, naked. Oh, that's where's the photos when we want them?
Oh,
So that's the so this all happened in Las Vegas. Why didn't we hear about it? Because what happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas.
course.
Even if it's aliens, right? Even if
Sure.
it's
Yep.
aliens.
wow.
So there you go. So there's okay, so that's the that's our alien report for the week. Now, Karen, this is for you.
Okay.
So let's see. So this one comes from Bolivia. The city is Oruro, Bolivia. I'm not sure where that's at. Something for you to Google later. So a drone was flying over a crop field in Bolivia. Now, I don't know if it was looking for crop circles or what, but they recorded a strange creature that was hunched over, but standing on two legs. And local residents and ranchers immediately panicked because they've been finding their alpacas, llamas, and cows dead, drained of blood, and butchered, which only means one thing, Karen, right?
Yeah.
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Yes, of course. So so this went viral, the video. So we've got so what they did was they started setting up barbed wire to either keep the chupacabra out, and they put lights up, motion lights to scare it. So let's take a look at the chupacabra here. Oh, that's Marvin the Martian. There we go. There's our chupacabra. Okay, so let's
Really?
convenient circle around it, Karen, so you can see that it's clearly something, right?
Yeah, something. Yeah.
John, you want to weigh in on that before I describe it to everybody?
Yeah, sure. I have to say again, I'm sorry. This is another grainy photo of something which is clearly not definitive.
Grainy. You're being too kind calling it grainy, John. So what we're looking at for everybody out there listening to us is it looks like a field that doesn't have a whole lot of stuff growing in it yet.
right.
And right in the middle of it is something that looks like it may have two legs. It looks like a body. I don't see a head, but what they claimed, the people who looked at the video taken by the drone, was that this was a creature standing on two legs, bent over. Now, if this is a dog on two legs, what they, which is what the way they described it, what the local people should do is let some squirrels out and see if it chases them, which would confirm that it's a dog or some dog-like creature. They were looking at some patches. There were some round patches in the field that could be crop circles, could be where the dog peed. I don't know. But
It's unfortunately unclear.
Really isn't. Yeah, I know. I'm John. They said multiple news sources said this is a chupacabra. So who am I to question the Bolivian media? But this means chupacabra, if it exists, is evolving because it started, for our longtime listeners, we love talking about the chupacabra. It started in Puerto Rico, and the original story was that it may also have been an alien that came from a spaceship. And they walk on two legs. They're lizard-like. They have scales. They have spines on their back, really sharp teeth, so that they can bite and suck the blood out of goats, which is where the name comes from, chupacabra. Then they moved to Texas, where they became dogs. Somehow, magically, you've got dogs, dog-looking creatures in Texas that people call chupacabras. Now we've got back in Bolivia, we have a dog, but it's not on four legs, it's on two legs. So this is the continuing evolution of the chupacabra. What comes next? What comes next? A dog-like creature walking on two legs could be a werewolf. Okay, so maybe the chupacabra is evolving into a werewolf-like creature, which means that the farmers down there are going to have to hang garlic around the necks of their cows and their goats.
Yeah, they don't
Good.
want to have that around there. That's for sure. No way.
Yeah, good news for the garlic farmers down there, by the way. Um, they may want to jump on this. So yeah, for those of you who can't see it, don't be too disappointed. It's a pretty grainy photo that the Bolivian media says this is definitely a chupacabra. Uh, if you're interested in investigating chupacabras, I'm sure the Bolivian tourism department would be glad to let you know whatever the name of that system was.
Not to second guess or anything. Couldn't they get a little closer? I mean, this is really. I mean, look how far away it is. I
I
mean,
know. It's a drone, John. It's a drone.
the drone
know-
can still get. From my understanding of it, drones can get close to objects, right? How come it's not closer to this one? I don't know.
I know. It could dive in. That's right. Maybe the drone operator was afraid, or he was new on the job. He wasn't sure how to.
Okay. All right. All right.
The airlines or whatever those things are called. I don't know. I'm not. I'm not lucky enough to have a drone yet.
Neither
But
am I.
speaking of lucky people, there's some lucky people in Japan who have a new home, courtesy of some engineers from Japan's University of Kitakiyashu, and I'm sure I mispronounced that, who figured out a way to make affordable homes out of and help the environment out of, get ready for this, dirty diapers. Dirty diapers. They collect dirty disposable diapers from the trash collection. They clean them, they disinfect them, they dry them, they shred the paper, and then they mix it in with as a concrete additive to build foundations and walls for houses. And I've got a picture of one of these houses right here. So all of the components that are not metal in that photo were made from dirty diapers. And this is a small, obviously affordable, not doesn't look like the most comfortable house, but it's a house. It's a house that people can afford. The owners, they talked to the owners in the article that I saw, and they said they asked them if they were happy. They said, yeah. They said, would you ever sell this house? And they said, well, they say it's made of a disposable diaper, so it depends, because because the builder really pampered them when they bought it.
Oh,
The pants, the pamper. You worked
Got
that
that.
right. Paul. We
Okay.
were too.
You knew it was you. Didn't you miss those good jokes, John?
yes.
We were too shrewd for you on that. We picked right up on
Oh, I'm telling you, I get mail all the time. We love your puns, Paul. So there's no door locks on this, being made from disposable diapers. All you have is a little piece of tape that holds the door closed.
Oh, good one. Yep.
it. What will they think of next?
Well, I don't know, John. Never made. I was thinking that it's made out of dirty diapers, so they're not going to have a problem with termites, because there's no wood in there.
That's right. That's true.
Dirty diapers, but they might have flies. And it could attract flies. Could attract dogs. Dogs sniffing over there.
Mhm.
So the big question, though, is if you're interested in one of these, which real estate agent do you go to purchase one of these houses made out of dirty diapers? And the answer is Century 21. Oh, where's my horn? Where's that rim shot? There we go. Okay, now this was for those of you who have listened to the show before, you know that I post a lot of these stories before the show on Facebook, just to test out some of the lines and give people who don't always listen to the show some incentive to watch it. So this one comes from Facebook, and this is about Zoe. So this is a world record. It's our first world record today. Zoe is a Labrador German Shepherd mix from Louisiana. She just won the Guinness World Record for the world's longest tongue on a living dog.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah. The veterinarian, this is taken after she went to the veterinarian, who measured her from the tip of her snout to the tip of her tongue and found it to be 5 inches long. 5-inch long tongue.
Wow.
I know. Yeah. This is what happens when you flush the toilet before your dog has finished drinking.
No.
No, apparently Zoe was born this way with this giant tongue. She can with that tongue, she can drink out of the toilet and the sink at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Sure. Wow. Wow.
Really? Yeah. I was going to say toilet and bidet, but I wasn't sure if all of our listeners knew what a bidet was,
Well,
or if the censors would allow me to say it. But
right.
cute dog, I guess I wonder if that's a gene that gets passed on to her puppies. We'll have to watch and see if there's more to this story. Oh, okay. So this story comes from San Diego. So a plane, it was a Southwest flight, landed in San Diego. Last passenger leaving the plane closed the door behind them, not realizing that not only were they the last passenger on the plane because they were in the lavatory at the time when everybody else was deboarding, but that the pilot and the crew had all left as well.
Oh,
So they locked the door. Yeah. So how do they get back into? There's no keyhole. We've all been on planes. There's no keyhole where the pilot comes up with a big chain of keys on his belt, and that's not it. That's not it. So here's what the pilot had to do. The pilot had to climb through the window
oh
of the
my God.
in order to get in. So somehow they pulled it off. They didn't break it. They managed to pull it off. I mentioned it was Southwest. So somebody snapped a picture from the lobby with the boarding area, and a ground crew member was helping them out there. So this is what they do at Southwest. At Spirit, if this happened at Spirit, they give the pilot a can opener, and they use the can opener to open another hole in the door.
So there's no way to open the door from the outside?
That's what they said, Karen. Isn't that amazing?
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
when you leave, I guess you're supposed to leave the door open. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be like that for most commercial planes that you can't get in from the outside? Right.
You would think so, John. And I would think for people who are flying, you might want to send a letter to Boeing and say, hey, this doesn't look like a good idea. But so the person was in the bathroom at the time. That's what they said. Now they're on the no-fly list because
what they did.
But somebody doing that again. And it's Spirit again. I love picking on Spirit. They don't even have bathroom. They give you the water bottle, and when you're done with the water bottle, well, that's what you use.
Oh,
Now, this is the most amazing thing. In spite of all of that, the next flight was only 8 minutes late. So after doing all that, climbing through the window, putting the window back, checking to make sure everything was okay, they were only 8 minutes late. The co-pilot, they said, kept looking at that window and fastening his seatbelt, making sure it was on tight because he didn't want to get sucked out of that window. But 8 minutes, they did all of that in 8 minutes. I think that's a credit to Southwest. So sure. Southwest, if you're interested in sending me free tickets, please send them to my Facebook page where I will be more than happy to pick them up. Okay, so now let's move from planes to cars. This is a wild story here. I'm going to take our photos down here for a second. So this is from a BMW, John. This is beautiful cars, well made, great reputation. BMW came out with a new 5 Series, and it allows drivers to change lanes while they're driving just by looking in their side view mirror. So they don't have to grab the steering wheel. They just look over with their eyes at the side view mirror. It's called the optional highway assistance system, and there's a camera that picks up their eye movement. And it works at up to 85 miles an hour. So this is it. You're driving 85 miles an hour, and all of a sudden you see something in your side view mirror, and your car moves over. This is not a good option.
I don't think so at all. I mean, it's like
yeah. And what if you're on the beach? What if you're driving along a beach and you happen to see, somebody that you recognize or somebody who you want to get to know better, and you look over there, all of a sudden your car runs them over. This is not a good idea.
No, I think it's a terrible idea.
Well, worst thing, yeah, or you rub your eye, you're rubbing your eye, and oh my God, and you drive off a cliff. But apparently BMW thinks this is a good idea. And I don't know, how do you deactivate it? You stick out your tongue or you put your finger in your ear? I just don't know. And it's
Are
I still love
testing
BMWs, but I'm not sure if I would go for that option.
Well,
I hope
excuse me, are they testing this right now, or are these cars?
as far as I know, they gave it a name. So it's the new 5 Series sedan unveiled this week allows drivers to change lanes on the highway just by looking to the side without touching the steering wheel. So it's available. If you want to go try one out, I hope they cover any accidents that you get into while you're testing the vehicle.
Wow, that's quite a story.
Okay, so John, John and I talk about that when we're not on the show, we're discussing new sports, but we also like to reminisce about our favorite weird sports. And one of them that always comes up is cheese rolling. So this comes from let's see. Oh, first one is worm charming. Remember worm charming, John?
Sure, we did worm charming. Yeah, several weeks ago we did worm charming.
I think I have a photo here of some worm charmers that we can look at while we're talking about it. So there you go. So these people, they gather. This is in Falmouth, England, and it's the Falmouth Worm Charming Championships held in Cornwall, England, which Falmouth apparently is a town there. 260 worms were charmed out of the ground by people using various techniques. This person in this photo here is playing a tuba, and the tuba horn is on the ground, and that's how he draws worms, charms them, so to speak, out of the ground. People bang garden tools, they dance, they beg the worms. That's another technique, begging the worms to come out. And you have 30 minutes. So the winning team charmed a record-breaking 20 worms out of the ground in 30 minutes. There were robins and pigeons circling this field, and they're clapping their wings. Oh, how impressive!
Sure. Oh boy!
They also have worm whisperers. Here's a job for us, John. Worm whisperers. The which I think a bird suggested that to people just to see how dumb humans are. That they would believe that you could whisper to worms. There's also, I think I may have another photo here of people dancing for worms. Oh no, those are the worm whisperers there.
Okay.
People dancing for worms, which is my Native American name, by the way, dancing for worms. So they talked about playing musical instruments. Now you saw the tuba over there. They said that just about any musical instrument will work except the accordion. They have found that if people play the accordion, the worms just go deeper into the ground rather than coming up. So no accordions at the Worm Charming Championships this year. Now, cheese rolling. John and I talk about cheese rolling all the time.
Sure.
The annual Gloucester cheese rolling race down Cooper's Hill in England. Remember that.
Sure.
Here's a photo of the winner here. So, but her story is what's interesting. So the women's race, they have races for men, for women, for all different categories. Women's winner was 19-year-old Canadian Delaney Irving, who found out that she won the prize, which is the wheel that she was chasing, when she woke up in the hospital. This is in the medical tent. Karen, this is one you can relate to. She woke up in the medical tent after being knocked unconscious while rolling down the hill chasing the wheel of cheese. And somehow, even unconscious, she managed to be the first to get to the cheese and wrap her arms around it before they hauled her off to the medical tent to revive her.
Yep. It's all about the win.
That's right. That's right.
Talk about dedication. Wow.
Talk about serious people here. So I think, let's see, here we go. Here's a photo of the men rolling down the hill chasing after the cheese. They're not running. Not a single one of these people are running. They may have taken one step at the top of the hill, and for the rest of the time they appear to be rolling or tumbling or eating dirt. Some of them, I don't. So they took her to the medical tent, and I did some research on the medical tent, which seems like a good idea. They have they also have a medical tent, not just for humans, but they have one for the cheese as well. In case the cheese breaks, they take it to the tent and they have some cheese whiz to put it back together.
Oh boy.
Mm.
So the winner of the men's race, Matt Carolla from Manchester, 28 years old. They asked him, this is what John would do. John is the interviewer, the sportscaster. Hey, how did you prepare for the race? And he says, I don't think you can train for it, can you? It's just being an idiot. What an honest statement to make.
He's going to get some praise from people on that one. That's right. He's brutally honest, Paul. And
There
Karen.
you go. That's right. Brutally is the word. That's right. Okay, so we've got another story from Facebook. This one was from a couple weeks ago. A new frog species was discovered in the Amazon rainforest. The frog, I have a picture of it here. There you go. So the frog has bright orange skin on its inner legs. You can see the bright orange skin there.
Yep.
Which explains its name is the Synax pyroiguinus, which means, that's Latin. In English, that means, get ready for this, groins of fire. Groins of fire. I think you could see from the picture why they named it groins of fire. I had groins of fire once myself. And then I stopped using the Thigh Master.
Oh.
But that's not all. I got it again. When John convinced me that everybody was getting bikini waxes, and I did, and I got groins of fire again. John, I don't know if you remember this. I think when we were in college, we saw groins of fire open for canned heat.
It's coming back to me now, Paul. Yes.
The groins of fire. This is what they should call the chapter on sexually transmitted diseases in high school sex classes. Groins of fire. I think that would work. You know,
Kind of a catchy phrase, actually.
Yeah. And what did other frogs think? Do they think this is sexy, having groins of fire? I don't know. I don't know. You know, would they, see this female frog with groins of fire and want to go leapfrogging with her? Or do having groins of fire make you croak? That's the question.
All right, Paul.
Okay.
A couple today. All right. Good. Very good.
All right, I got one more animal story. This is one of my favorites here. This is from Connecticut. This is a bear story. So a bear broke into a bakery in Avon, Connecticut, scared the employee who was at the counter, who ran into the back room, and then the bear ate 60 cupcakes out of the counter before lumbering back into the woods to use its Charmin bathroom tissue.
No.
Wildlife officials say that animals don't normally like they don't normally like cupcakes, but this one decided to punish the bakery because the counter was full of bear claws. And I've got a picture of the scene of the crime here. So there is the inside of the bakery. There's the cupcakes, and outside the bear was just consuming them and throwing them, and God only knows what else as it exited the bakery. John and Karen and everybody out there, do you like bear claws?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say I do. Yes. They're a tasty treat.
Definitely one of my favorite donut type things. Here's a photo of an actual bear claw right here. There you go.
Oh, does that look good?
Looking.
That looks good.
So a little bit of trivia on bear claws. The bear claw is defined as a sweet yeast-raised pastry, or kind of a Danish, that's but it originated. I just invented a new word there. It originated in the United States, of all places, in the 1910s. Teddy Roosevelt was trying to impress other world leaders. He said, "I eat bear claws for breakfast, not your wimpy croissant." In Denmark, a bear claw is referred to as a cammie, Kammee. And in France, they have their own version of the bear claw, which is the pâté d'ors, which means bear paw, created in 1982. The name bear claw for this pastry was first used in March 1914 by the Gable German Bakery, located at 915 K Street in downtown Sacramento, California. So, first place where that pastry was called a bear claw was in Sacramento, California. I thought,
It's kind of
now
interesting.
you know more about bear claws than you ever thought you would. Right.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see, what do we have here? One more animal story here, and then we'll well, two more animal stories here. This one is I lost it. The talk among yourselves while I check the script here. Oh,
Oh, sure.
so you've heard of headlamps, that you wear on your head when you're going in a cave. A Japanese artist by the name of Yakiko Morita makes art out of actual bread. So she turned a piece of bread into a lamp. There it is right there, a baguette, the French baguette, into a beautiful, what she called a bread lamp. Now, sells for $200 if you're interested. $200. There's another big ball of bread over there as well. But it actually, there's light coming out of it. There's a cord coming out that's plugged into the wall. Sells for $200. If you want it with lunch meat, it's another $10. They're made with real bread, real baguettes. They have an anti-mold coating. This has got to drive your dog crazy. First you torment them with the Christmas tree that they can't pee on. Now you put a food on the wall that they can't eat. So
yeah.
she's moved on. This is so popular, John. If you're thinking about getting into this business, it's so popular. She's now taking little buns and she's making flashlights out of little buns, which she advertises as the best thing since sliced bread lamps.
Oh, well, you're working it well today.
There you go. I think I'm going to end on that one. I'm going to end on that one.
Yeah, quit while you're on top.
Might as well turn things over to John Denalo here. So see if I got my. I'm telling you, 3 weeks away. All my papers are shuffled here. Let's take this photo down.
Stop complaining, sir. We pay you well.
That's right. Where's my assistant? That's right. I should be able to afford an assistant to hand me pages of script here. Okay, so for those of you who have listened before, you know that once we reach the end of our regularly scheduled news stories, we move on to What in the World of Sports with John Denalo. John is my fraternity brother, college friend. We've been friends for all that time. I recognize John as a sports guru and a trivia guru, so he's perfect for the role of our sports news guy. And I challenge him every week. I say, John, find us a sport that fits the theme of What in the World of Sport. Real news sometimes, real sports sometimes strange, always funny. That's the motto. And John inevitably, as you know from previous shows, comes up with the strangest and weirdest kinds of sports. I can't remember what the last one was, but I think we said there's no way we can find anything weirder than that. I guarantee you we'll top it. So, John, let me line up your photos while you introduce our sport for the week.
That sounds good, Paul and Karen and audience. Okay, so the sport this week is Pato, spelled P-A-T-O.
Right.
And this sport is the national sport of the country of Argentina.
Oh.
You might think that would be the tango, but it's actually Pato, or in Spanish, Juego del Pato, which means duck game. But it is not the national sport of ducks, as you will soon find out. Pato.
What is it? Duck game. Duck game?
Duck game, right. Duck game.
Okay. All right. Duck game. Got it.
So Pato is played on horseback and combines elements of both polo and basketball. It dates back to at least 1610, when Peto was played in fields between neighboring ranches in Argentina. Gauchos,
Wow.
Gauchos or Argentine cowboys would compete to carry the Peto to their own ranch house and throw it through the net, thus winning the game. Sounds like a strange competition, wouldn't you think?
Yes.
But accounts of Peto have been recorded as early, again, as I said, in 1610. The playing field then would often stretch the distance between neighboring ranches, and again, being able to be the first team to reach its own ranch house with the duck would be named the winner of the match.
With
Now,
the duck in a bag,
duck in a bag, right?
competing cowboys between ranchers. Okay,
Right.
on horseback,
On
throwing
horseback.
the duck in the bag through a hoop or into a basket or something like kind of like this picture here.
Yeah, well, and again, this was
Painting.
this was good for the Gauchos, the Cowboys, but not for the Peto, which, if you remember, is the duck. So
Was the duck.
yeah, well, yes, but here, originally the Gauchos put a live duck inside a basket or a leather bag, and that became the ball.
Wow.
Over the years, Peto was banned several times due to violence, not only to the duck, but to the Gauchos who were trampled by horses, or some Gauchos, believe it or not, were actually knifed by other Gauchos during the competition.
All right.
It was
Are
so
you sure
bad.
this wasn't invented in America?
Well, no, this is all Argentinian for sure.
Argentine. Now, I never noticed this before you mentioned it, John. But in this painting, some of the horses have fallen over, so it does look kind
Yeah.
of dangerous here.
Yeah, it is chaotic. It's a chaotic.
Wow.
So it was so bad that in 1796, a Catholic priest insisted that Peto players who died in such a manner should be denied a Christian burial.
Wow.
So,
Whew.
so then finally in the 1930s, a set of rules was drafted, and in 1953, Juan Perón, the president, declared Peto as Argentina's national sport.
Wow.
The good news is, in modern Peto, the duck is replaced by an inflated leather ball with 6 handles, which you see there.
Yeah.
Two 4-member teams riding on horses fight for possession of a ball, which then they try to throw through the vertical 3-foot ring on top of an 8-foot pole, which is displayed there if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, it looked like a giant fish net.
It is a giant fish net, really.
Yeah.
But the player that holds the Peto must ride with his right arm stretched, so rival players have a chance of tugging the Peto and stealing it. Not extending the arm while riding with the Peto is an offense called a negata or a refusal. And it's a penalty. It results in a penalty. Now, during the tug or the chinchada, opposing players must stand on the stirrups of the horse and avoid sitting on the saddle. The tug is usually the most exciting part of the game.
Here's a photo. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, this is a photo of what I believe is what John is describing, the tug, which for those of you who are not watching, is 2 guys on horses fighting over a ball with handles on it.
Exactly what it is.
and if I remember the opening, John, you said this is the national sport of Argentina.
It is the national sport. Yes, it is. Although there have been some opposition over the years where some people were claiming that should not be the national sport, but it still is recognized as such. Now, the winner in the competition is the team with the most goals scored after regulation time, which is 6 8-minute periods. So they're playing for 48 minutes. So
48. Wow.
Yeah, it's a long contest. Now, Peto is played professionally in leagues and also by amateurs at what is called domas, DOMAS, or Argentine rodeos. Now, in concluding, Pato sounds like a fun version of polo that could catch on in other countries. Even ducks like it now. But when the Pato goes through the net, you can hear them quacking. Don't cry for me, Argentina.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Don't cry for
duck.
us. I'll tell you what, this again, Paul, like you said earlier, this is really truly a weird, unusual sport.
Holy smokes. So it originated with a duck in a bag that cowboys threw through a net as they rode horses between ranches without and and if they got and it was so violent that it was banned by the church, and now it's the national sport of Argentina.
So it
You
is, right?
You can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't. No.
You're 100% right, Paul. 100% right.
Wow.
Pato.
Unbelievable. Great sport, John. Oh, holy smoke. I didn't know you spoke Spanish, that Huevo del Pato. I didn't know what that meant, so I thought it was something to eat. I thought maybe it was duck soup, but
No. We're not that lucky. We're not that lucky.
So I think this is a game that could catch on in the United States. It's certainly not a game that any of us would participate in.
No.
I've been on a horse once in my life, and it was going very slowly. So I certainly wouldn't do it. But
Was that on the merry-go-round?
no, it was in front of the grocery store. If
Oh.
you really want to know, Karen. And I had a roll of quarters.
Okay.
But John and I, back when we were in college, we did a lot of crazy things. And I don't know if you remember, John, we participated in a sport that was called a duck game. I don't think it had horses involved with it. In fact, I'm not sure that we paid very close attention to what it was that we were going to get involved with. All I remember was I got a phone call that said we needed to show up at the field for the duck game. And I called you and I said, I'll pick you up for the duck game. And I picked John up, and this is the way he was. This is John in a duck suit. Now, where you got the duck suit? I'm pretty impressed with that duck suit.
I'm gonna have to keep it a secret. Sorry, just for everyone's benefit and sanity. I'm gonna keep that confidential.
Okay, so John was so embarrassed. We had to go because we were committed. John was so embarrassed. We all felt sorry for him. So we treated him to malt duck, which is a real drink.
It is a real drink.
Malt duck, red grape malt duck. I'm sure we got pretty well ducked up on that. Anyway, so what in the world of sports with John Donnell? Thanks so much, John, for that great sport.
You're welcome, Paul and Karen, and audience. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, holy smoke. Let's get right. We're not used to this time schedule here because we're a little rusty. So at this time of the show, we normally go to What in the World of Sports. What in the World of Sports. When we're done with What in the World of Sports, we play Bluff the Co-host, everybody's favorite Weird Dudes game. Rules are simple. Oh, by the way, Pat Sajak is retiring as the host of what?
I saw that on the television this morning.
Wow, how about that?
I wonder if Vanna is.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, but he did nothing without Vanna.
Yeah.
Bluff the co-host. The stories are similar to the ones we've been talking about all afternoon. One big difference: those were real. These may be real, may be a bluff. It's up to John, Karen, and those of you playing at home, or out on your walk or wherever you're at to decide real or bluff. So let's get right to it. Gambling is allowed. Place your bets. John and Karen, hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number one. After selling 250 million records worldwide, Scotland's favorite rock star, Sir Rod Stewart, was looking for something else to do. So he just announced he will be selling his own sandwich spread called Maggie Mayo. It turns out Sir Rod is famous for his sandwiches, and friends like Sir Elton John and Sir Paul McCartney say the best part is his special mayo, which has hints of garlic, paprika, dill, and some special ingredients that Rod won't reveal. Sir Rod even sent a batch of coronation chicken salad made with Maggie Mayo to King Charles, just to show he wasn't mad about not being invited to sing at the coronation. Look for Maggie Mayo online and in British markets soon. Okay, so Sir Rod Stewart's new sandwich spread, Maggie Mayo, real or bluff. Karen, we'll start with you.
I'm going to say it's a bluff based on the fact that I don't believe he sent it to the king. So therefore, bluff.
Oh, okay. All right. There's a twisted logic, but logic nonetheless. Karen
You
says
got
it's a
it.
bluff. John, how about you?
Well, I'm gonna say it's real. I normally don't. I always try, as Karen said, try to be logical about these things, but I'm gonna go out on a limb on this. I'm gonna say it's real. I can see Rod Stewart doing something like that.
Okay, John says it's true. John, a big sandwich fan. I think you
I
would
am a
be
big
interested in
fan.
Maggie Mayo. So John says Maggie Mayo is a real thing. Karen says it's a bluff. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say, congratulations, Karen. That is a bluff. Sorry,
Thank
John.
you.
No Maggie Mayo for your Italian sub
starting
this
off on
week.
the hole again. Okay, congratulations, Karen. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Getting
All
off
right.
on the right foot there.
Yeah, boy, like that long layoff. Well, you can come back here, John, with story number 2. Scores 1-0. So let's get right to it. Hands on the buzzer. Not everyone can afford to buy or raise show dogs, so the Westminster Dog Show had decided to set up a special division for affordable pets. Starting next year, the annual event will open a day early with the Westminster Hamster Show. If you think your hamster is the best looking rodent in the United States, you can enter them in the show competition by sending in a photo. If your little hammy is into agility and sports, send a video of them in action, and they might get picked to run a complex habit trail against the clock. The winners of the Westminster Hamster Show will get little trophies, a year's supply of wood shavings, and their picture on the cover of Hamsters Illustrated. Okay, so Westminster Dog Show is expanding now for affordable pets to the Westminster Hamster Show. What do you say? John, we'll go with you first. Real or bluff?
Well, I'm going to say this is a big time bluff because a hamster is nowhere close to a dog, obviously. And the parts about all these things, Paul, that were happening in terms of, what they're going to win or whatever, it's impossible to believe. I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Okay, John says it's impossible to believe the Hamster Show. How about you, Karen? What do you say?
I'm in total agreement with John, and I'm sure Annette, really helped him this week. So I'm going to agree. It's a bluff.
Okay, so we have two bluff votes on the Westminster Hamster Show. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say, guess what? You're both right. That is a bluff.
All right,
Sorry,
Karen, way to
extra
go.
lovers.
Very
Yeah.
good. Very good. Okay.
All right, so John's got 1 point. Karen has 2
Feel a little
points.
better. Feel a little better.
Everybody knows points are doubled in round number 3. So let's get right to story number 3. Hands on the buzzer. It's hard to find people who like haggis, the Scottish dish made from sheep insides, boiled in a sheep's stomach. So a restaurant in Edinburgh decided to give people a reason to like the dish. This high-class establishment is offering squirrel haggis for people who want to help rid their neighborhoods of the pesky pest. The squirrels are locally caught, cleaned, and irradiated before being ground up, mixed with spices, and stuffed into a sheep's stomach, since the stomachs from squirrels are too small. The menu says the squirrel haggis tastes mellow, nutty, and a bit gamey, and the best wine to go with it is from a local winery alongside a busy freeway where many of the squirrels came from. Squirrel haggis, just like Mom used to run over. Okay. Squirrel haggis from Scotland. What do you say, Karen? Real or bluff?
This is so disgusting that it better be a fake, because if it's real, I'm going to have to take my trusty cane here and get into the bathroom.
All right, so Karen says she hopes squirrel haggis is the bluff. What? How about you, John?
Well, I'm with Karen on this one, and I'm even going to take it a step further. I'm praying that this is a bluff because it will destroy my my belief in man. That something like this, could even exist. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, it's just really it's from the sublime to the ridiculous on this one. That's why I
Yep.
see it. So I say it's a bluff.
John says it's a bluff. Karen, would a little bit of Maggie Mayo help? Maybe.
I don't even think that Maggie Mayo could help. I don't think anything can help that.
Okay, so John says it's a bluff. Karen says squirrel haggis is a bluff as well. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say, bad news for both of you. That is a real delicacy from a high-class restaurant in
Oh, that is
Edinburgh,
Oh my
gross.
gosh! Wow.
Yes.
No.
And
Wow.
from
Well, I'll
local
be sure next
squirrels.
time I'm in Edinburgh not to go to that restaurant.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't give the name of the restaurant because I couldn't pronounce it. But anyway, squirrel haggis coming to a just like Mom used to run over. I couldn't believe it. Okay, so let's check with the scoreboard. And the scoreboard says Karen, but despite missing that last one, Karen is the winner this week. But John
Congratulations,
still
Karen.
had
Very
at
Thank
least one
you.
right.
Thank
So
you.
Very
Yeah.
good.
not a complete failure.
Oh, yeah. Got one right. So
Yeah,
good.
he did.
Yeah. So let's so John will be ready for next week, I'm sure. And so will we, now that we have our illustrious media mogul and co-host and producer Karen Hale back
I'm
in
back.
regular seats. So we will be I want to thank Karen. I want to thank John as well for all that he does for our show and being a good sport. Thank you, John. Thank you,
You're
Karen.
welcome. Thanks.
Especially thank you to all of you out there for hanging with us for 3
Right.
weeks. Coming back, for those of you who are listening online, for those of you who are listening in your earphones while you're out jogging or on your exercise treadmill
Or on your yacht.
or on your yacht. That's right. Who knows? Could be on your Southwest flight.
Oh,
We're grateful to you. We're grateful. Please like us, follow us, do all those things. Go to newclevelandradio.net to find out all the places where we are for free. So please let us know so that way we know how many people are listening. And then while you're there, please take a look at some of the other great podcasts that Karen has available for all different kinds of subjects. She's coming up with new podcasts all the time. So be ready for something new, and anytime you go to visit newclevelandradio.net. And on that note, I think I'm going to take a breather because it was a little bit stressful here after that 3-week layoff.
you did a fine job, Paul. Fine
Yes,
job.
you did a great job. And I think you should go spend the evening with the lovely Donna.
I think that sounds like a good idea. I will do that. And everybody else, you do the same with your spouse equivalent, or pet. I don't.
We'll end it there.
Whatever your stuffed animals, your pillow. I don't know. I don't want to know. I'm gonna go have some squirrel haggis. See you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody. Have a good